Bakit paabot naman nung papeles? Thank you. No retirement from politics after all, as President Duterte makes a last-minute bid for a senatorial seat after filing for substitution today. Formerly executives Mohit and Twinkle Dargani are now in Senate custody after an attempt to fly to Malaysia on board a private plane over the weekend. And the pilot run of face-to-face classes kicked off today. Let's find out what changed under the new normal setup. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. President Duterte will run for senator in the 2022 national elections. Duterte will be running under the Federalismo ng Dugong Dakilang Samahan or PDDS after substituting for a certain Mona Lisa Visorde. The candidacy was filed through Duterte's representative, attorney Melchor Aranas. PDDS President Greco Belgica said Duterte's Senate run was a party decision. President Duterte had earlier announced his retirement from politics after his term ends in 2022. Former NTF-LCAC spokesman Antonio Parlade Jr. says he decided to run for president after some senators moved to defund the anti-communist task force. The retired general also vowed to protect President Duterte beyond his presidency. Parlade subbed in for Antonio Valdez under the Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino. However, Parlade made it clear that he will not be siding with presidential aspirant Senator Bongo because of the way the former special assistant influences Duterte's decision-making.
I cannot align with Senator Bongo. I'm sorry, but kasama siya sa problema ng bayan natin. I just don't like the way he does things, including controlling the decisions of the president.
Here are other election-related stories we're watching today. Former Palace spokesperson Harry Roque and ex-PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar are both gunning for Senate seats in the 2022 national elections. Roque is running under the People's Reform Party, while Eleazar will be running under the Partido para sa Demokratikong Reforma. Bongbong Marcos and Senator Tito Soto are the top choice for president and vice president in the 2022 elections, based on a commission survey conducted by the social weather stations. 47% of respondents chose Marcos, followed by Vice President Leni Robredo with 18%. Soto topped the survey for the vice presidency, with 44% of respondents saying that they would vote for the Senate president. Let's dive a little deeper on President Duterte's decision to run for senator with political analyst Ramon Casiple. Good afternoon, Sir Mon. Good to see you again. Did this move surprise you, or were you kind of expecting this?
Well, considering he did not actually express the wish that Sarah should run, and in fact, Sarah ran for vice presidency. If you know President Duterte, this is not a surprise. The surprise actually is the actual announcement. But if you look at the way that things have done topsy-turvy during the past few days, that's to be expected.
All right, and having said all of that, sir, what does this now mean for Senator Bongo's presidential bid, now that he is without a running mate?
Well, I don't know. They have to talk it over in his own party how they will run, and I don't know because I don't think Senator Bongo is not really the supposedly presidential candidate. He's supposed to be a placeholder, but negotiations I think turned out differently. So he's out basically in a lurch, and I don't know what will happen to him.
All right, so having said that, Sir Mon, I guess you do not see Bongo pushing through with his presidential bid, or as pundits say, it could be some kind of plan B in case Bongbong Marcos is disqualified?
I don't know. As I've said, it's not part of any thinking that I have done about the presidency because he is a placeholder, supposedly, if negotiations will turn out differently. And it didn't. In fact, it's a bit awkward today, not only for him, but even for the PDP Laban tandem. They don't have a sure ball candidate, I think. And everybody will have to think that the the end game is not yet ended, and there may have things that will still have to happen.
All right, so you're not seeing an end game just yet, but do you think, Sir Mon, that this could actually be an indication of, there being some sort of unrest or a lot of changed plans within the party?
Well, if you know President Duterte, he likes to think as the end game as beyond whatever deadline Comelec set. And the deadline for this election, particular election, is that there can be a replacement of candidates if there is a disqualification. That's up to election day, actually. And considering that so many things have happened, particularly this case against Bongbong, that's disqualification if it turns badly. I'm not going to be surprised. But
So,
as of now,
yes.
we have to think that as this is the end of substitution, then you can take it from there.
All right, but from this day forward, or from this moment forward, substitutions can only happen with involuntary withdrawals, right? So, and there's also rules, Sir Mon, about only someone with the same last name can substitute. So how would that then play out? Do you still see any loopholes that they can go through?
Well, that's speculation already. I don't know what will happen to any disqualification case, but certainly, I think all of us reminded that Bongbong Marcos is currently is in a case before the COMELEC, and he can be disqualified. And if that happens, then there will be a replacement. I don't know yet because President Duterte is well known for last minute tactics. So let's appreciate that fact, and
Let's see for
they
that.
had to speculate.
Okay, so no speculation, we'll all wait and see. But then this much is a fact. Months ago, the president did publicly announce his retirement from politics. The question now is, Herman, will all this flip-flopping by President Duterte actually have any impact whatsoever on his candidacy?
Well, we have to think in terms of the position that is running now. The last position is senator. It's not a very high position in the sense that he is a former president. He will be a former president. But then, as I've said, it's an open question at this time.
Right, fair enough. enough, sir. Let's move on to this recently commissioned SWS survey showing growing support for Bongbong Marcos. Does this reflect the reality on the ground, you think?
Well, don't believe any survey at this time. This is not the proper time for any survey. Remember, President Duterte became only #1 in surveys in April. And that's, I mean, that means that even before the campaign, any survey will be expected to drastically change as effect of the campaign. So I'm not taking any seriousness, any survey at this point in time.
All right, so just to wrap everything up, Sir Mon, the only thing you were waiting or looking out for right now that really we know of and we can watch out for are these cases against Bongbong Marcos.
Yes, we have to wait.
All right, thank you so much for your time and your insights. Political analyst Ramon Casimple, thank you so much for joining us today, Sir Mon. In other news, thousands of students across the country are finally back to school for the first day of limited face-to-face classes. Despite the challenges, teachers and parents believe that this is better than distance learning. JC Cosico with the story.
Marilu's kids, Dylan and Paul Jake, are now back to school after almost 2 years of distance learning. Aside from their uniforms, they also wore face masks and shields.
Excited po at nakapasok na po ulit sa school. Makakapag-aral na po kami.
Yung turo ng guro po talagang maaasa po yung mga utak ng mga bata pag sa amin po kasi minsan po yung mga bata hindi po nila pinapansin po yung mga sinasabi namin.
Longos Elementary School is among the 100 schools approved for the pilot run of face-to-face classes. Students are required to wash their hands, undergo thermal scanning, and have their IDs with QR codes scanned for contact tracing. Safety markers and signages are also installed in and outside the classrooms. There's an isolation area for those who will exhibit COVID-19 symptoms who will then be referred to the LGU. After a physically distanced flag ceremony, students were allowed to enter their classrooms. Plastic barriers are installed between teachers and students to avoid possible COVID-19 transmission. Teacher Diana admits that teaching while wearing a face mask is challenging.
Pag nagsasalita ka, yung laway mo and then yung moist ang hirap po.
But she says face-to-face classes are better. Some parents agree to this.
Meron pong internet, kaso nga lang po dito sa amin, mahina lang po ang signal. Kaya mas maganda po ang talaga ang face-to-face.
Out of 83 kinder to grade 3 students of the school, 80 will participate for the pilot run. All teaching and non-teaching personnel are fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
Here in the area, wala naman po kaming cases, and the entire Alaminos, we only have 4 cases left. So hopefully this will continue.
Meanwhile, the DepEd is reminding school heads that the vicinity should be free from the presence of armed combatants. This came after a uniformed personnel with a firearm was seen inside the school. The agency clarified that he was part of the security detail of a local executive. For now, the school's division of Alaminos City hopes that more schools will be included for limited in-person classes. The DepEd says over 5,000 students are expected to participate in the pilot run, which will run for 2 months. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
The La Union Trial Court has junked the possession of illegal drugs case against Julian Ongpin. This was confirmed by Prosecutor General Benedicto Malcontento. He said the prosecution, for its part, will be filing a motion for reconsideration. Recall that over 12 grams of cocaine was seized from Ongpin in his hostel room in La Union, where his girlfriend Bree Johnson was also found dead. Let's take a quick look at today's other top stories. Family executives Mohit and Twinkle Durgani were arrested at the Davao City International Airport on Sunday afternoon. Senator Richard Gordon said they received a tip that the siblings were on board a private plane bound for Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The two are now detained in the Senate. The Tergani siblings had been cited in contempt by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee for refusing to submit documents related to the inquiry on the government's pandemic spending. The Health Department says that Metro Manila and the rest of the country are still classified as low risk for COVID-19. The DOH says average daily cases nationwide have gone down by 15% on the week of November 8 to 14. And contact sports like basketball and volleyball are now allowed in Metro Manila under Alert Level 2 status. However, only those fully vaccinated can play in events or watch as part of the audience. And also, despite being fully vaccinated, capacity has been limited to 50% for indoor venues and up to 70% if outdoors. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.